Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the regular scheduled meeting of the Beavercreek City Council. We'll call this meeting to order. May we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Curran.
Here.
Councilmember Literal. Councilmember Rushing. Here. Councilmember Upton.
Here.
Councilmember Ban. Here. Vice Mayor Garcia.
Here.
Mayor Stone.
Here. And at this point, I'd like to turn it over to Councilmember Upton.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to excuse Councilmember Literal.
I'm moving right along. Thank you.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to excuse Councilmember Literal. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Now, Councilmember Upton.
Okay, ask everyone to stand and join me for a moment for the pledge and a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ask everyone to bow their heads for just a moment of silence as we thank our first responders. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we have an agenda before us this evening. Any changes?
Seeing none, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda.
I have a motion and a second to approve the agenda as submitted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Approval of minutes. We have 3 sets this evening. We'll start with the September 9, 2019 regular meeting. Any comments?
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve the September 9th, 2019 regular meeting minutes as submitted. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Aye. Motion carries. Next are the minutes from the September 12, 2019 joint work session with the Beavercreek School Board. Any changes?
Seeing none, I move to approve the joint work session with Beavercreek School Board.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes as submitted for September 12th. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Aye. And lastly, the minutes for the September 23rd, 2019 regular meeting. Any comment?
Seeing none, I move to approve the minutes of September 23rd regular meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes for the September 23rd regular meeting. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Abstain.
Sorry. With one abstention. All right, next, we have a public hearing this evening, PC 19-5.
This is an application filed by Anchor Development LLC, 3825 Edwards Road, Suite 630, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45209. The applicant requests administrative site plan review and approval for 1.113 acres of land to construct a 4,207 square foot Panera restaurant. The property is located on the southeast corner of North Fairfield Road and Dayton Xenia Road, further described as Book 5, Page 5, Parcel 102 on the Greene County Property Tax Atlas.
Thank you. Is there an applicant present this evening?
I'm not
Seeing
seeing the
none,
applicant
would
right now.
the,
To
would the
clarify,
staff like to present?
I'm not the applicant. I just don't
I
see them here
understand that.
right now. So Jeff went to check the parking lot, but I'll proceed forward from the staff's perspective. The case you have before you is PC 19-5. It's the Panera Bread Restaurant. They're looking to build a 4,200 square foot restaurant on about 1.1 acre. Project's located in central Beavercreek. It's at the site of the former Friendlies, so it's right at the southeast corner of the intersection of North Fairfield Road and Dayton Xenia Road. The reason we're here this evening, this is an ASRO, which is very similar to the site plan process of a PUD. It's the Administrative Site Plan Review and Approval. And the reason we're here is because this property is located within Dayton Xenia Planning Area number 3 on our land use plan. So with those overlay areas, we're looking, when we have those overlay areas, those are more sensitive to traffic and to aesthetics and the like. So we have language in the land use plan that any redevelopment or development of properties within these planning areas go through the ASRA process. So that's why we're here. The property is zone B2, which is neighborhood business. Restaurants are permitted use within the B2 category, so this applicant's request does fall within the confines of the zoning code. Seen here is the proposed site plan. Again, North Fairfield is here on the left going north and south, and Dayton Xenia is on the top going east-west. They're proposing 2 access points to the site, one being a restricted access on North Fairfield Road where it's a right out only, and then a second access which would be a full access onto Dayton Xenia Road, which would allow left out, right out, and then a full access in. Through 2/3 of the site, or from this location to this location, that's about half the site. It's a one-way traffic going counterclockwise. But once you get to the southern parking area and the western parking areas, then it is two-way traffic patterns. In terms of parking, based on the indoor square footage of the restaurant as well as the outdoor square footage of the dining patio that they're proposing, as well as the estimated number of employees, they're required to have 50 parking spaces, and they show 49, so they do meet the minimum requirements for parking. One thing else I wanted to point out, they are proposing a third access here at the southeast corner of the site. Right now, it runs into the U.S. Savings Bank parking lot, and you know, we've been trying to contact him, and the applicant's been trying to contact the U.S. Savings Bank. It's a third property owner. You know, I've left several messages. The applicant's left several. We're still continuing to work with them, but until we get permission, this can only be a access point that stops at this property line with a cross-access easement, so that when we do get in contact with U.S. Bank, we can have that be a full access point in and out of the site. But as of right now, we haven't been able to get in contact with the actual owners of the bank property. But that's something that we do anticipate, and we are going to work for and towards moving forward. As you can see, that access point would line up with the drive aisle here on the south side of the bank. But what they're proposing, the 2 access points line up with the existing access points on for Friendlies on Dayton Xenia and North Fairfield Road. Seen here is the proposed Panera building. As you can see, they do have 4-sided architectural features. Majority of the building would be a beige brownish brick, and then they have a mid-brown composite ephes that is on all 4 sides of the building, and then some beige ephes that are on 4 corners of the building. So they do have that brick wrap that wraps the entire base. They've got a roofline cornice and roofline that alternates in height to add to architectural, the interestingness of the architecture. The building itself is 63 feet long and 71 feet wide. It'll be oriented towards North Fairfield Road, and then the drive-through portion of the building fronts on Dayton Xenia Road. It'll be a 1-story building, but 24 feet to the top of that parapet wall. These are some other elevations. As you can see, they propose a very planned landscape plan. It's very luscious, and they show a lot of different architectural features in terms of shade trees, decorative shrubs and grasses, and some evergreen trees. And they're also showing some landscaping out actually in our right-of-way, because there is kind of there's a retention wall, a retaining wall here, and it drops off 4 or 5 feet and ultimately up to almost 6 feet once you get to the corner. And then it kind of flattens out when you get to Dayton Xenia Road. But some of that landscaping proposed is in our right-of-way. So before we let them, before they would be able to plan anything like that, they have agreed to enter into a maintenance agreement where they're going to maintain it. So they're not going to plant it in our right-of-way, and then all of a sudden we have to maintain it. So they're duly aware of that, and they are fully in agreement that they want to maintain that landscaping and the additional landscaping they're proposing to put out at the corner of the intersection. The lighting plan does meet all of our minimum requirements in terms of full cutoff fixtures and foot candles. There's no extensively bright areas throughout the parking lot, so you wouldn't have any hot spots. And they're proposing to use poles mounted on concrete bases that are similar to the poles that are out there or out throughout the shopping center now. They're proposing to have wall signs on all 4 elevations, with this being a highly visible intersection. And with the upgraded architectural features, staff doesn't see a problem with having the wall signs on all 4 architectural elevations. They're 44 square feet apiece. And again, they're on all 4 elevations. One condition, they showed a small ground sign that didn't have a brick wrap, and it was just kind of on a small base, and we added a condition, I believe it's exhibit or condition A or exhibit A in your proposed motion, that requires it to be on a 2-foot base that wraps the sign rather than just a base that's on the bottom of the sign. This kind of gives it a more of a, a nicer look. And so staff added that condition. There are 18 conditions in your motion for your consideration. I still don't see the applicant, but I'll be happy to answer any questions that I can after the public hearing. Thanks.
Okay. Did you expect the applicant to be here this evening?
I did, and so I mean, it's always an option if council has questions they don't think that I can answer from an operational standpoint. We can move this to the next meeting, but I think that. I think I added. That's right. I added one, so there are 19 conditions on the motion. So it's the updated motion. Right, there are 18 in the resolution, but it's up to council if they want to postpone this and wait and see if they'll be at the next meeting. But thanks.
Okay, well, we'll move forward. So with the applicant not here, we will move on. And this is the time for public input. And this is anyone that's here this evening can come up and address council on this application. We ask you to limit your comments to 3 minutes unless you have time donated from somebody else in the room. So is anybody here tonight, would they like to address council? No one? All right, we will close the public input. And how about council? I think, Councilmember Kern, would you like to?
Question for Randy. Randy, what are they going to do to the parking surface? That place is like a tank trap, what it used to be. Are they going to remove it or just simply?
They're going to repair and replace it. I mean, it's going to be like a new parking lot. They're not going to just patch in holes or anything like that. They want it to look brand new.
I have a question along those lines, Mr. Kern, if you're done. Sorry, didn't mean to interrupt. Just along those lines with the parking area, I may have missed it in the plans, but will there be connecting access through either, I think it's the Marion's Pizza that's right next to it, or the business that's behind it? Will there access through that? And I'm sorry if I missed it in the plans.
That's okay. There's show an access point to here.
Right there, okay.
The problem is we need to get permission from this property owner before because it's right now they've got their dumpster for this site is right at where that would stub in. So we need to get permission from the owner. Let me get to it. Sorry.
And that would be the only access point between the businesses?
It's about right here.
Okay.
And so, I mean, it was an isolated site before. We're at least going to get them. We're going to get the drive up to the property line, and then once we get the bank involved, and they're going to be able to connect to there. But I can't force the bank to do it until.
No, totally understood. I thought.
Right.
I thought you mentioned something about it, and I may
Yeah,
have overlooked it in the plan. So I appreciate you clarifying.
But yeah, the means to get there is being proposed, and it's just within this plan.
No, I understand. Thank you very much.
Mm-hmm.
I actually have some concerns about that actual proposed plan. As I look at what I would expect the traffic flow to be from the bank there with their drive-throughs coming down, you're going to have a bunch of one-way traffic going out that way, and then we're going to potentially create traffic coming in at that same point.
Mm-hmm.
To go over to the new Panera Bread. I mean, to me, that traffic flow doesn't flow well.
Yeah, I mean, we looked at it up here, but the grade change is just too much. It's like 5 or 6 foot drop from here to here, so I couldn't get that because that would be the more optimal places out here.
Yeah.
When they do have an access point, we'll look at what design we can create because I think there's a small landscape island
There. Yeah.
right here now, and maybe we'll find a way to enhance that so that it kind of
By that picture
so you don't have
showing,
people.
it looked like you're going to have to take out all that landscape.
It depends on the design. I mean, it's hard for us to get in there and have the applicant design something if they're not.
Right. I
not
know it's
allowed.
all
But I mean,
In
we would.
theory at the moment.
We would make sure that whatever design I come up with, I mean, it would be in the best interest of the city and the applicants.
But we think that that is the best point.
I mean, honestly, I
go
think it's
along.
the only real point. I mean,
Okay.
because you've got a 5-foot drop here too, and then you got, I mean, this is way too steep and way too steep. This is the only area that's really flat, unfortunately.
Okay.
Interesting.
The traffic flow in and out from the other proposed points, and that's no different than what Friendly's had before, if I
Correct.
remember correctly. I mean, it's same left-hand turn.
I mean,
right-hand
yeah, this
turn.
wasn't, right now, this isn't restricted, so with this plan, they're proposing to restrict it,
Okay,
so even further than the existing.
more restrictive. Okay. Very good. That's all I got.
Councilmember Van.
I think our citizens have been waiting for something to go in here for a decade.
It hadn't been that long.
Just about.
Pretty darn
Felt like
close. So, I know that if we move this on to the second and third reading, we have other opportunities to get more information and
This does
make
not move.
changes.
Does
This
not
would be
move
a.
on.
Oh, this is it?
Yeah, this is a motion.
Oh,
This is just an ASRO. It's already zoned, so this is just an ASRO site plan.
I'm very sad that the applicant did not show.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I wouldn't be,
We're
unless
on-
you know
we're on-
timelines, I wouldn't be afraid to
We can
table
put
We're
this.
on I mean, we're almost on the same exact page with the applicant. I mean, there wasn't really any, there hasn't been much, any difference. So their timeline, I don't think they'd be able to get started construction this year. I mean, it's just getting late. So it's up to council, if you want to wait.
Are you saying if we wait, they won't
If you
be able to get
table it
started this year?
and wait and see if they had any questions to the October, or the 24th, or what,
Yeah, it'll be the
28th.
Anything else?
No, that's a hard thing.
No.
And so we haven't had any text messages from them telling us why they aren't here.
I was fully expecting them to be here. I just found out they weren't here at 6.
There were some accidents, so that could have tied them up. There was some serious.
If there's been some, I mean, yeah, I know Jeff sent him an email at 6 saying, where are you? But
Well, I want this to move forward, but we only have one chance to talk about it, and I think the applicant should be here, so we'll think about it.
Councilmember Rushing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just for comparison, the size of this location versus the size at Fairfield Commons, is it the same square feet-ish in the ballpark, or? I know you probably don't have those numbers off the top
Right,
of your
yeah.
head, but this is generally speaking.
generally speaking, yeah, I think that they have more parking there, but it's a smaller building. This one's more oriented towards the drive-through.
And I don't know if during planning commission, did the applicant speak to their daily anticipation for their traffic flow in and out?
They didn't have, they've never given me any kind of expected usage of the site, if that's what you're asking, how many customers they anticipate every day. That's not something that, they showed that they have enough stacking for 7 cars, I believe, in the drive-through, and they showed that they have enough parking, so, they know their business in terms of how fast to get people in and
Sure.
out, so. I
If
never
the-
really inquired into their total daily numbers.
If the cross-access is agreed to by the property to the east, how wide, because right now the proposal for the dumpsters at that location as well,
Yeah, but the
looks very small just by the plan. is basically
right. I
my
mean,
point.
these just kind of show the upgraded concrete. The doors will end here, so it just shows the heavy duty
Okay.
concrete. So when the trucks pull in,
mistaken.
they're not messing up the asphalt when they're lifting the truck or the.
I thought that was the entire structure.
No, the
That's
structure will. I mean, the doors are right here, so it's kind of. I could see where that's misleading, but no, that's
No,
just the
that's my
concrete.
fault. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Garcia.
Nothing further from what I already asked. Thank you.
One thing I would like to at least think about strongly, and that is the access to the bank. Mr. Upton, Councilmember Upton, talked about the traffic flow there. And I think you ought to at least take a second look and see if that should be one way out from Panera. If you have bank cars coming out of there and all going trying to go to the left, and then all of a sudden one on the inside lane decides it wants to go right to go to Panera, it just doesn't look like a very good flow. Something we can talk, if we decide to postpone this, something we can talk to the applicant about. And of course, it's something, but if that was just a way to get out over into the shopping center and not a way to get in from the shopping center, I think it might be a little less congestive, but just a thought. So, any other comments in general on the application? All right, so discussion on whether or not we'd like to hold this for the applicant to arrive or to,
I think we hold it maybe till the end of the meeting. Let's get, go through some of our other items here tonight, and if it is a traffic situation, you know, hopefully they'll be able to, join us at some point.
so you got a motion to move this to right after decision items?
Yeah, motion.
Second.
All right, I have a motion and a second to hold any action on this PC 19-5 until after the decision items. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, next, ordinances, resolutions, and PUDs. Ordinance 19-20.
Second reading of an ordinance repealing Chapter 137 Weapons Control of the City of Beavercreek Code of Ordinances and adopting new Chapter 137 Weapons Control of the City of Beavercreek Code of Ordinances.
Thank you. This is the second reading of this ordinance, so this is a public hearing. If there's anyone present tonight that would like to address council on this ordinance, please come forward. Seeing none, we will close the public hearing, and this ordinance will naturally move on to the third reading, which will be at the 28th. All right. Next item, Resolution 19-61.
This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with the City of Kettering for the project known as the County Line Road at Dorothy Lane intersection paving.
Hello.
Hello, good evening, Mayor, members of the City Council. Earlier this year, we were approached by the City of Kettering regarding their desire to resurface the intersection of Dorothy Lane and, County Line Road. Part of the reasoning behind that is their maintenance crews have made several trips out there over the last couple of years to patch the area, and they're looking to find a more permanent solution instead of their maintenance crews constantly going out and making repairs to that pavement. The intersection itself is split pretty evenly between the cities of Beavercreek and Kettering, so they asked us to share half the cost to do that resurfacing work. And this is something that was planned anyways with the County Line Road widening project. However, this would just move that up a couple of years. So any work that's done to resurface the intersection is going to stay, wouldn't be disturbed when we do the County Line Road project. The total cost of the work is approximately $46,000, and again, our share would be 50%, and Kettering would pay for the other half. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Do we have any questions? Anyone? This is obviously something that is going to be able to fit into our budget.
Yes, sir.
All right. Anyone else?
Go ahead.
I was just gonna make a motion. So.
Oh, I believe we may have gotten some support from the NVRPC on this. Did we get some funding for this project?
Yeah, there's two projects going. This resurfacing would be 100% City of Kettering funds and Beavercreek funds. The overall larger County Line Road improvement, there are NVRPC funds involved
Okay,
in that.
that's what I was thinking of. All right, thank you. Go ahead.
All right. There's
I'll make
no-
a motion to approve resolution 1961.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 19-61. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next is Resolution 19-62.
This is a resolution authorizing the city manager to sign a letter on behalf of the City of Beavercreek stating the city council does not oppose the transfer of the proposed liquor license from Pizza Hut of America LLC to Condado Tacos 17 LLC.
Do we need anything special on that one?
Probably glad to. Yes, Mayor and Council, this is an unusual section of the Ohio Revised Code, and this provides that will allow a business applicant, when there is an economic development project, to seek from other places in the state of Ohio liquor licenses that are not being used at the current time. And that's, we've had this once before, I believe, and this is the second time that's been requested. This comes from a Pizza Hut outside of, North Olmsted, Ohio, up north.
Okay. All right, interesting. Any further comments?
Where is Canado Tacos?
It's going to be at the Green. It'll be located at the Green, and yes.
Do I hear a motion?
I would move for approval of resolution 19-62.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to approve Resolution 19-62. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Next, liquor permits. Hello, Chief.
Evening, Mayor, Council. I have a request for a new liquor permit for La Perla Nails and Spa LLC. We received a notification from the Ohio Division of Liquor Control. This is for a D1 permit. You've seen these here at this location for different permits, but this is for a D1. This is located at 2820 Center Drive, Suite A. The records checks required by the Ohio Department of Commerce Division of Liquor Control were conducted on the business holders, shareholders for this application request, and staff is recommending this move forward without comment.
Thank you. Do we have somebody that has the motion?
I believe it's just a motion to
Councilmember.
accept without comment.
Second?
I have a motion and a second on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Decision items. We have an appointment to be made tonight to the Board of Zoning Appeals. So, first off, I'd look for a motion to open nominations.
I move to open nominations for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to open nominations for the appointments to the Board of Zoning Appeals. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same. Motion carries. Do I hear any nominations?
I'd like to make a nomination of William Altoff.
Second?
Do I hear any other nominations? Do I hear a motion to close nominations?
I move to close nominations for the Board of Zoning Appeals.
Second?
I have a motion and a second to close nominations on the appointments to the Board of Zoning Appeals. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Excuse me, motion carries. In that case, do I have a motion for an appointment?
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to appoint William Altoff to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the term ending February 29th, 2020.
Do I hear a second? I have a motion and a second to appoint William Altoff to the Board of Zoning Appeals for the remaining term, ending February 29th, 2020. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, so we're going to back up now. Is the applicant present, or has anybody heard from the applicant on Panera?
Still haven't heard back from him. It looks like there was an accident on 675. She's coming from Cincinnati. And
675 northbound by the Green.
yeah, it looks like it's backed up. The picture looks like it's all 5 lanes wide of cars just backed up, so.
So I would ask, is there anything particular we want to ask of the applicant? Something we don't feel comfortable with on the staff report or what we've discussed already?
The only one I have is about the traffic going to the bank, across the bank property.
I don't know if this is warranted, but Mr. McHugh, are there any implications that we need to be concerned about if we vote to table this, knowing that there could be a delay in getting started? Sorry, is there any implications that we need to be concerned about if we move to delay this to the next reading, given that we've already been told that there may be concerns about groundbreaking based on the questions that we've asked and the concerns that we have
Did you say that they weren't going, if we
I
did
doubt
delay
they would be able to
it?
get in this year. I mean, they might
If
be
we
able to.
delayed it, right? But if we
No,
were-
either way.
Oh, either way.
I think regardless, I mean, at best, I think they could.
Yeah, that's
tear the
what I-
building.
I'm sorry, I misunderstood.
Either way, it
Yeah,
isn't,
no.
I mean, at this point, I
fine.
think a 2-week continuance would not, I see no legal issue with respect to it.
They haven't mentioned anything about a building, like a closing of the property in terms of sale in the next 2 weeks.
No, I appreciate that. I misunderstood. I thought you meant if we delayed it, then they would not be able to break ground
Yeah,
if we delayed. So I appreciate
suspect-
the clarification.
Yeah, I suspect the applicant's probably
fine.
unfortunately been involved, tied up with that accident.
I will say traditionally, if the applicant's not here, we have tabled it to a future meeting in the past. Just
Sure. Yep.
So are they going to demolish the Friendlies?
Yeah, it'll be a.
Totally.
Completely.
So
yeah.
if we did allow this to go forward, they might be able to demolish the building this fall. They just wouldn't
Sure.
start construction until spring,
Right, they
probably.
would start grading and
But
pulling out
that would be
asphalt.
one portion done.
And if it's the cross-access, we can condition the design of it or however, I mean.
That's right. We could put a condition in there saying that the crosshatch traffic flow will be determined by staff.
Right. That way, we can work with them on the best solution instead of it being a free-for-all.
Yeah, because,
So
I mean, that's the only issue I see is that unfortunately, I wish we could order that cross-access.
I do too.
But unfortunately, we cannot.
Okay. So, I'm sitting here for a motion, one way or the other.
Do we need to, I would move that, what's the thing about the condition about the access read now? How would we amend that to make sure the staff would have to be reviewing and approving that condition? I'm
There's
not,
something in there that would say that the traffic flow at that point would be determined by staff at a future time.
It's condition number 18 is
and how does it read right now?
prior to release of a zoning permit, the applicant shall record with Greene County a permanent cross-access and construction easement on the southeast corner of the property with the property to the east. So they're only required to put the easement up to their property, and we can't force them to do anything on the bank's property.
Right.
Prior to getting the easement recorded, the applicant shall provide a draft of the easement to the law director for review and approval.
So if
He
you
doesn't mention anything about design, because we were only talking up to their property line.
So if we added design and traffic flow to be determined by staff
Yeah,
at a future date,
yeah, that won't be a
does that
problem.
work?
I would move that we amend the,
And number 18.
Amend 18 or make it 19?
I already have a
Whatever.
19, but we can make it
19, yeah, you could,
It says 18.
There's 18 in the resolution, there's 19 in the motion.
19 in the motion, yeah.
I
Yeah.
added one.
So if you said prior to the release of the zoning map, the applicant with approval of the design by city staff shall record.
shall record access.
The rest of it stays the same.
Okay.
So that would mean, they would have to come back and get staff approval.
Right.
Or if you want to say planning staff approval.
I know what you're trying to say, I know what, I get an idea of.
I would make that motion.
All right, thank you.
And that is a new motion, a new condition, all right?
Well,
So
it's an
we-
amendment
It's an amendment to the one
We're gonna
that's-
amend
18.
18.
18.
Okay.
Yes,
Amendment to
Mayor.
number
So I have
18.
I have a motion to amend condition 18. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a motion and a second to amend condition number 18. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. So now we're looking for one of two things. We're looking for a motion to approve with the amended conditions, or we're looking for a motion to table.
So will they put that access to the bank regardless of whether or not it's open to the bank?
Right. We're having
They're
them
gonna,
pave
they're
up
gonna,
to their
they're
property
gonna, they're
line.
gonna
Up to
pave
the
it right up
property
so
line.
that, so it's ready to go, so at some future time, we can make it an access.
So that it's
Yeah.
not, we don't have to go back and ask Panera to do
Right.
something in the future.
Right. And I don't know about, I would like you to take a second look at that traffic flow in and out, but I think there's gonna be just as many people who want to stop or on their way from Kroger's or someplace else and drive through. So I think we really have to think about having it just,
I understand.
but I understand what you're saying too.
Right.
So it's just putting a lot of weight on your shoulders to thoroughly look at that.
Yeah, we want to make sure the design is
And I think it's
appropriate.
gonna play a little bit into the bank's hands too. Does
They'll
the
have a big
bank
say
want
on it.
everybody from Kroger's parking lot to pass through there? So they might release it for one way, but maybe not two. But anyway, whatever works.
Right.
We're putting it in your hands if we'd go along with this.
Do you need a motion to,
I need a motion to approve this,
I move to approve it.
this
You have to read-
Azra
you have to read
PC 9.
I'll read it. Okay.
Go
Mr.
ahead.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for the purpose of taking administrative action, approval of an Azra detailed site plan for Panera, PC 19-5, on the basis that City Council finds the facts submitted with the application and accompanying materials and modifications, amendments, and supplementary conditions satisfy the standards and criteria for an Azra detailed site plan as per section 158.083 of the zoning code. Supplementary conditions required of this approval shall be as follows, which there are 19, of which number 18 was amended. I further move that this motion with all the conditions be fully recorded in the meeting minutes of this council meeting.
Second?
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. All right, council time. Councilmember Van, would you like to start?
We've had a lot of campaign events, but the one that I want to talk about is the Miami Valley Tornado Long-Term Recovery Operations Group. We know that Miami Valley Regional Planning is going to coordinate capital improvement grants that would come forward for all the cities, but all the social service agencies in the region are meeting to help residents who, primarily the ones that call the 211 number. So the groups at the table that give a monthly report are Red Cross, UMCAR, Food Bank, CareSource, Montgomery County, County Corp, Catholic Services, St. Vincent de Paul, Easter Seals, Goodwill Easter Seals, North Dayton, Lutheran Services, United Way, Brethren Disaster Ministries, Dayton Foundation, Trotwood, and Miami County has also hired a navigator to help people from their county navigate all the challenges of the tornado. And we do have that on the docket, so that Pete's going to present something to us. But if we hire this staff person, they're going to go to this meeting and then be an advocate for our residents with all this information. So what I learned at this meeting is the Dayton Foundation has $730,961.22 in disaster funds. And these funds will be awarded to nonprofits who are going to help the recovery. So organizations like Rebuilding Together, Habitat. So it would be good for us to figure out what kind of organizations might help people in Beavercreek too, because it's got to be a not-for-profit. We just have to figure out how we could maybe get some of this funding, otherwise we won't. The other thing they're using this money for is to purchase bulk materials that are needed by lots and lots of people. So they've purchased siding, they've purchased roofing, they've purchased other materials that will be provided at a discount for repairs. Again, I don't know how we've tagged into that at this point, but I know that those materials, $100,000 worth of materials have been purchased with this fund. They asked for people to report in-kind donations and donated time, which we still do have a lot of that in Beavercreek. People are reaching out to help, and the reason that they ask for us to log it, which is what Pete's been doing with other time, is because then they can also use that when they're writing grant applications for social service funding that's going to help us. They can also use that as a local match. And again, we would like that to be in Beavercreek. It was good to hear the different organizations talk about sharing ideas and the progress and the hope and things. For the 211 number, to date, which was October 7th, there had been 130 calls. Of those, 42 were homeowners. Of those 130 calls, 125 were from Montgomery County and 5 were from Miami County, and Greene County had 0 so far. So we'll see how that goes. A brand-new program that Federal Loan Bank was unveiling is $5,000 available to renters if they were hoping to buy a property, and $20,000 available to homeowners whose home was destroyed. So that's something our residents can look into. Teams of volunteers are still being recruited, and they are still planning work days, and we could still do that in Beavercreek. And we do have some volunteers that somewhat do that, but we can be part of this bigger group. And they talked about training workshops. One of the things that's really challenging is estimating the repairs. So they're hosting, Sinclair is helping train people to be able to estimate what the repairs are. And you know how that is challenging. I wondered even if our code enforcement person would want to do that, just to be up on it. I mean, just food for thought. And they also have emotional relief programs at Fairmont, and of course there's one in Beavercreek as well, so those things are going on. But it's nice, it'll be nice. It's good that we have a door into this system, and I hope that we can continue working with them and take advantage of the most we can for our residents.
Very good. Councilmember Rushing.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'll be brief. I just want to congratulate Kroger on their grand reopening. Talk about a gathering place for our community, and people tend to go to the grocery stores, and congratulations to them. I do also want to mention, I know the manager has it on his presentation, but I was going to mention it nonetheless, is that the county auditor does have a property tax form. One of the things that I have learned through my public service is just many misnomers and misconceptions about property taxes. I think anyone who attend that forum would be learn something new about how property taxes are calculated, and just different terms and ballot language that we all see on a normal basis, especially living in Beavercreek. So that is this Wednesday at 7 o'clock at Beavercreek Fire Station 61 in the lower level. So I just encourage anyone to come out, being that we survive all property taxes, getting knowledgeable about how they work. I think it's important for any voter, especially those within Beavercreek. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman, will they be talking about reappraisals for the tornado areas in this workshop you're talking about?
I don't know if that's specifically on the topic,
Okay.
but I'm sure Auditor Graham would be happy to answer those questions.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Upton.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Stone. Just a couple items real quick. Fortunately, I'm not a candidate for anything this year, but I would encourage everybody to check out some of the video that we have from the recent Women's League Forum and some of the other candidates and issues forum, and ask everyone to review the candidates and make an informed decision, not only about the candidates, but about the issues at hand as well. So check that out. I think links are on our website. For those that have cable channel 5, it should be shown pretty regularly. But check those out. It's always a very well done production, not only by the Women's League, but also by our video staff as well, and putting that together. And secondly, I got to tell you all, I'm very excited about this Panera bread. Only because in my tenure, the one business I've gotten the most flack about is Friendly's leaving Beavercreek. My friends have given me such a hard time about that over the years that I'm so glad we have something to go there.
There'll be a lot of dough involved.
There will be a lot of dough. Yeah, maybe in your pockets, but not mine.
With that, let's move on to Councilmember Carl.
Congratulations to Kroger's, echoing comments on that before, and also the truck and young people's event that took place out at the maintenance garage, which was very well attended, and awful lot of parents and kids had a good time out there.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Garcia.
Thank you. Just an administrative note on my end. I know it's only October 14th, but we are quickly approaching the year end. So I'll be sending out surveys for the city clerk and city manager annual evaluations. I had Councilmember Upton check them this time. The links do work. I know we had issues last year with SurveyMonkey sending out the links directly. They've had some updates, so I was able to figure out how to directly send them to everybody. So I will be putting a plan in place. I will likely ask for those to be complete sometime before Thanksgiving so that nobody's doing a lot of homework on Thanksgiving weekend. Everyone can go out for Black Friday instead. But keep an eye out for that email coming in the next couple weeks for annual evaluations. And that's it for me.
Well, thank you. My end, it's been busy, couple weeks. We already heard about Kroger's reopening, and but we've had the Aqua Tots had a reopening as well. They're up and running again, or up and swimming again, and everybody's happy about that. The Tri-Truck, as was mentioned, was quite a success. We thank the staff and the Township Fire Department joining together to make that a fun event. Owens Place had a walk. They raised money. I did not walk in it. My wife did. However, if you recall, a couple weeks ago, we declared Walk with the Mayor as an initiative in the city. And so there have been 3 walks, and I have made 2 of those. So we are moving. Family violence.
Wait. So it's a walk with the mayor and you missed one?
Well, my wife was there, but I was out of town.
So it's walk with Mrs. Mayor.
It was. One of them.
Just clarifying there.
And the ones that were walking with the mayor when I was there walked slowly. Because as you know, it's been a good recovery, but it's been a while. Family violence, this month is Family Violence Awareness Month. We issued that proclamation, and they had a ceremony up at the Green here recently. Boo and Brew. Anybody go to Boo and Brew at the mall yesterday? Fun event. The kids had a ball, but always a good event. And I had the privilege of going on the civic leader fly-in, which is why I was out of town for the 3rd walk. And we went out to the Air Force Academy, and it was quite an experience, and really learned a lot about the academy, how to get students enrolled or applying for the academy and that sort of thing. So the school superintendent was along, so I'm sure he's got all that recorded for his students. The Vice Mayor and I are hosting the Girl Scouts here tomorrow evening, or late afternoon, and that's always a good time. We try to get them to run through some sort of legislation and make a decision. With that, I think I've about covered it. It's, like I say, it's been busy, but it's been fun. And I'll second everybody's motion about the forums, the Senior Center Forum and the Women's League. They were both well done, and take a minute to check them out. With that, we'll move on to City Manager. Please.
Thank you, Mayor. I'll skip on past the property tax. Council member Rushing already covered that, so thank you. But that's Wednesday, October 16th, this Wednesday, 7 o'clock. Be a census taker. We're part of trying to get the word out about how important the census is for 2020, but also that they still need help. So they're having at the Greene County Public Library, the Xenia branch, first floor conference room in Xenia there, October 22nd from 12 to 5. Show up anytime between 12 and 5. So they're having a recruitment informational session. So good if you're looking for some work that will probably last for a while to come. We have this a couple times a year, seems like, where we're taking prescription drugs. We kind of have a little contest between all the entities there: Greene County Sheriff's Office, Beavercreek Police, Fairborn Police, and Sugar Creek Police Department. No liquids, no needles accepted, but this is, really October 26th between 10 and 2. That is a Saturday, so we want the prescription drugs. So if you were on some type of medication and you completed all you had to do and you have some left over, don't flush it down the drain, don't flush it down the toilet. That doesn't do the environmental services any favor by doing that. So bring it to one of these drop-off locations. Police department right here next to City Hall will take it. Also at the same time, the flags, American flags that need retired properly, we also take those at this time. So if you have a American flag that is needs to be retired, we partner, I believe, with a Boy Scout troop that helps us put those to retirement. And Trick or Treat will be October 31st, so that's Thursday, 6 to 8. I know we'll have another time to announce this on the 28th, but we always have it on actual Halloween. I did want to mention also the Tri Truck. Yeah, that was a great, man, what a, couldn't have done the weather any nicer. That was a perfect weather day to be out, because it just went, within 2 days, that's when it went from 90 to perfect, 75, 70 degree weather. So perfect day, lots of kids, man, they had fun. I will say the first hour, 10 to 11, where it was the no horns, no, quiet time for kids that are sensitive. I think that we got a lot of compliments on that, a lot of appreciation. Because you see the kids that are very sensitive to noises. And 11 o'clock hit and the horn started beeping. So the other kids got involved in honking the big truck horns and different stuff. But I think that was that was our first year, I think, doing this sensitivity from 10 to 11. I think we'll probably do that again, because that really worked well. But that was a great event. Congratulations to staff on that. And the only other thing I have tonight is, as you're well aware, or if you haven't been down Dayton Xenia next to Kroger, that's all being, it's been milled. Last Friday, I believe, they started milling that. I actually said to somebody, I said, now that it's been milled, it's actually smoother than when it was paved in some certain spots. But that is to be repaved this week, hopefully, weather permitting. It should finish repaving and working on that and getting it striped this week, weather permitting. So we'll look forward to some smooth roads. And that's all I have tonight.
I did think it was too bad that you did that milling on the day of their grand reopening. The timing of that was pretty, not perfect.
Kroger was very appreciative of the decorations, the orange cone. Went with their banners that they had.
We have been working to get the vendor back to do that, and so it just, actually, we found out probably when the vendor was coming back before Kroger told us about the opening. So it was unfortunate, but I mean, it all worked out.
Okay, thank you. All right, at this point, we'll move on. This is a time for citizen comment. Is there anyone here this evening that would like to address council on any issue? Please come forward, give us your name and address, and we ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes unless you have somebody donate their time.
Sure. My name is Brad Kopp. I'm with Anchor Development, and I wanted to apologize. I hear we got delayed, and I hear we missed our approval vote, which makes it the easiest city council meeting I've ever been to in 20 years. So I appreciate everyone's support, but I wanted to make sure you knew we were here. If there are any questions, we're happy to answer them at this point. I can either do it in the meeting or after the meeting, whatever makes sense.
I appreciate it very much, and if council does not mind, can we open the floor for questions?
Yes, please.
Let's do. All right, so anybody want to have a question of the applicant?
Normally, you would be able to tell us a little bit about your store, and I think it's always great to hear it out of the mouth of the developer because it's a little bit different than our staff might tell it.
Sure.
So tell us why this is the greatest thing.
Okay.
And you already know that we're pretty excited about it, so just go ahead and tell us why it's the greatest thing.
Well, we're excited about it as well. We're based out of Cincinnati, Ohio, and we've been representing the franchisee of the Panera is the largest franchisee in the country at the moment. And we've done, I've been with the company about 4 years, and this will be our 12th or so. It's a new concept for them, a new design for them that they haven't done before, but they are very, I can tell you, they are very particular about the communities they're in. They give back a lot. If you've been in any of the Paneras, you see they're very proud of the fact that they give back both locally and regionally, and they are very particular about how their Paneras look as well. So they will be a very good neighbor, I think, for the city, and so particularly on that corner. So.
All right.
So the drive-through is going to be the first drive-through Panera in Beavercreek, but there's one in Bellbrook or Sugar Creek Township?
Yes, everyone we've been building have been
Recently have had drive-through?
Yep, everything they're doing now, they want drive-throughs. Everything that they've owned for a while, they're looking to convert to drive-throughs if at all possible. So I'm trying to think, the closest one that we've built around here would probably be our Mason location, Ann, do you think? I brought Ann McBride with our zoning consultant, but if anybody's familiar with the Mason area, there's one off of Kings Mill Road there, just north of Kings Island, that we built about 3 years ago. That's probably the closest to here.
So does the menu change for the drive-through compared to when you order off the menu?
No, it's the same menu as inside the store.
So how do you move fast enough to keep from having a long, it's going to be so popular, everybody's going to be lined up. So how do you keep that line of traffic moving?
You want to?
Hi, I'm Ann McBride, and again, apologies for, it was really not a very nice sight on 675 tonight. It was just really awful. But at any rate, one of the questions about the drive-through, and I want my salad without egg, and I want my sandwich with this, and so forth and so on. So I've been doing Paneras a really long time, and I've been doing a lot of the conversions down in the Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky area markets, putting the drive-through in onto an existing store. And it was really interesting what Panera corporate at the time, the guys that actually started Panera, shared with me was that they can actually turn around a custom food order faster than Starbucks can make your Mocha Loca, whatever it is, which takes them, I think they said, like 4 minutes and 47 seconds, and they can turn an order around faster than that. So they've got this down to a pretty scientific art. So they're excited about being here.
Yeah,
it's a great location for them.
We're not the operator, we're the owner, and we'll be building it for them. But I think they've got their average wait time and queue time is significantly.
Talk into the speaker.
Oh, I'm sorry. Their average wait time and queue time is significantly shorter than most of your fast food restaurants.
And shorter than Starbucks.
Yeah.
But we have really enjoyed working with your staff, and we've tried to address all of their comments and so forth, because Beavercreek is a special place, so it should have a special.
Thank you, we know.
Been working here a lot of years, so.
Yeah.
Most of our discussion was about the access that would go toward the bank. And so all we did was require you to work with the staff to come up with a workable solution, because there's a lot of things out there that have to be considered.
Well, and Anchor has reached out to the property owner, which I believe is in California, right?
Correct.
Yeah, and without success. But their attorneys are drafting an easement that we'll be submitting to your staff for review and approval that would create that easement if and when, fingers crossed, that the owner of the bank property then wants to cooperate. Because it works for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, I think for the Panera customers, it would work better anyway, because they'd have access to a signal
Right.
in the long run anyway.
Right,
so.
Absolutely.
right.
Yep.
And our customers in Beavercreek are pretty darn smart, so they will figure out how to get to that signal.
Anyone
Agreed.
else have any question of the applicant? Well, I thank you for coming on up.
Thank you
even
again,
though-
and again, I'm sorry
and,
that we were
Well,
delayed.
you couldn't help that one bit.
Thank you very much.
Thank
We
you.
look forward to
All
being
right.
here.
Anyone else have any comments for city council this evening? Seeing none, we will move on. Anything for the good? Seeing. I have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.